that lets you save.
Look here.
True Form Life.
Green look on.
It's our job to continue to work past that self-sabotage to see the results that we're looking for.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Taddia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Taddia.
Welcome to another edition of nationally syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. We're coming at you with a brand new show. We appreciate whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. So stick around. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Taddia.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to talk about how to ignite the inner Energizer bunny in you. Well, that's a mouthful. So we got a great show planned for you. I talked about energy not too long ago, about a month ago. So this is going to be a slightly different show. So sit back and enjoy the ride. I feel like this is going to be a really nice twist on energy. A lot of people I asked, we did a poll and I said, what do you guys want me to talk about? And we had energy at the top, and then we had our stress was right below that. So I think a lot of people are still struggling with the whole time change thing. I don't want to get into that and start complaining about it because I don't want this show to be I want this show to be positive and upbeat, but that definitely plays a role for a lot of people. And shorter days is a big deal. So it's a real thing. You have less sunlight, less vitamins, right? We need the sun. So at any rate, spending less time outside because the weather is cold, that all definitely plays into account here. So I have my board that I'm going to look at. I have this giant, some of you guys might know, I have this big whiteboard that I've always wanted. And finally I got it. And it's like the size of a wall. So I get to write down all my thoughts and all my ideas for the day. And I wrote down a bunch of notes for you guys here. The first one for me is expectation. So that is the umbrella on top of my whiteboard that says expectations and with a question. And I think questions are so powerful. So what are your expectations when it comes to energy? Because when someone says to me, I don't have any energy, that's really a broad statement, right? We don't know what that means. You don't have energy to do what? Or you don't have energy at what time of day? Or I think that most of us don't think about what's draining that energy instead of just like, oh, it's the action, right? Like what are you, another great question is, what are you doing to increase your energy? And a lot of people say nothing. It's like I worked on a lower back program for quite some time, so that's available to our MAP members. We haven't even really sold that separately. Maybe when we first launched. At any rate, knee health, same thing. I'm releasing a knee health program here within our MAP program to help improve our members and clients' knees so they can keep working out. And it's often I'll say, well, what are you doing to improve your knee health? And they're like, nothing. What do you mean? So, but I suppose the caveat to that is we don't know what to do. So I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying we have to take action to make changes in our life. So when it comes to expectations of your energy, what is that? Like, are you expecting energy that a 2-year-old has? Because our little guy will run laps around the house and he doesn't even breathe heavy. And I'm like, your lungs are like this big. How are you not breathing heavy? So that's a little bit different, right, than someone who's at a different age. And I'm not talking about health declining. I'm talking about health declining as we get older. I'm talking about that we need to be taking action to make changes in our life if we want changes. A lot of times people think about it. Oh, I want to make changes. I'm going to make changes. It's the same thing with our MAP program. Sometimes I'll talk to someone on the phone and they'll be like, I really want this. These are all the things that I want. And then they'll talk themselves all the reasons why they don't want to commit to something. And I'm like, so you don't really want change, because if you're not willing to take action, then you're not willing to, or if you're not willing to take action, then you're not really interested in seeing the changes in your life. Okay, so if you don't have energy in the evening, we would need to look at what's going on earlier in the day. So that's number one. And then your expectations, like what is your expectations of energy? Like, are you looking to be bouncing around in the evening? And what are you comparing that lack of energy to? So that's one thing. So I know people don't like to hear this, but my strong suggestion is that we move our workout to earlier in the day. And I know that's inconvenient, but life is inconvenient, right? And those are the changes I'm talking about. Like if you want to see different things in your life, like I want more money, right? Then okay, then maybe you need to work harder. Maybe you need to work longer. Maybe you need to work at a different job. Maybe you need to be more efficient with your time. There's a number of different things that we can do to take action if we want something. So when it comes to workouts in particular, like we have seen night and day difference in our mat members group. We have a 5 a.m. club. So we have a handful of members that are a part of our 5 a.m. club, and they're working out at 5 a.m. And then so that's a different mindset, right? Of expectations. Like I don't want to get up that early. I can't work out that early. I don't have time. I need my sleep. I can't get up that early. Whatever it is, like all these things that are preventing us from seeing a different result because we're not taking that action to change, right? I'll go through Annette. So the afternoon slump is a challenging one for a lot of people. Now, here's one for me. Like I like to work out first thing in the morning. I have different routines and different stretches or different routines like stretching. I do stretching. I do knee stuff. I do like a regular full-on workout. So I really like working out in the morning because that gives me energy. It gives everyone energy. But moving one of my workouts, and they're not full-on workouts. Like I'm doing like sections. Like this is the knee part that I want to improve. And you know what's interesting is that I don't have knee pain. And people are like, why are you designing a knee health program? Because I know what it takes to have strong knees. That's number one. And I've worked really hard through athletics. Like my body was broken down so many times. I can't even tell you. And towards the end of my career, I was never injured. And that's unheard of because we play or practice every single day of the season, and our seasons are 7 months long. So guys go through injuries all the time. And I was not injured. I had a strong mind, strong body, healthy food, supplementation, and exercise. And that's what I was doing. So I know what that takes. And I think it's an interesting concept because a lot of times people say, "Oh, I've used my knees too much early on in life," and I'm like, I highly doubt it, right? Like, if people don't want to hear that, right? Because they want to think that something happened damaging wise, which is why they need surgery or why they don't have cartilage or whatever that is. But that's a mindset. Like that's a mindset that we've created, a story that we've been told. Because I know I still stay in touch with guys that I've played with that put their body through hell and back, and they don't have knee pain, they don't have back pain because they're still active, they're still exercising, they're still stretching. So I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect there. And it's the same thing with energy. That's why I asked about your expectations around energy. Some people do. It's the same thing when it comes to energy in particular, because a lot of times people expect their energy to be high, but they're not really doing anything to keep their energy high. Right. So when I'm talking about, Annette mentioned the afternoon slump, and I'm not claiming I'm not a napper anymore. I just haven't napped in a while. And the reason being is because I'm working on certain projects, and towards like mid-afternoon, I'm pretty tired because I'm up at 5 last night. Like nights like last night where we don't sleep much because we have a 2-year-old. It's a bit more challenging to get up. We're up at 5, and then a certain like stretching for sure in the morning, and then I was napping around 2-ish, 2-ish, and I was like, you know what? I want to change that. I want to get a few more things done. So what I did is I made myself an elixir, which I do every afternoon. I'll talk about, and then a different one that I probably haven't shared with you guys yet. And then I work out around 2, and that gives me like an instant boost. And that maybe that might be like some people work at home, and some people have a gym at the office. Like there's different things that we can do, but you need to open up your mindset and try different things. Because if we're always like, this is my result, this is what I see, my finished product, you have to reverse engineer that and look back, like what steps are you taking backwards? For me, it was like, I want to nap in the afternoon, so I'm going to nap around 2. I can work at home for myself. I can do what I want. But then I was like, am I being as productive as I want? And the answer was no. So those are the powerful questions I was talking about. So then we look at, I look at what are the action steps I'm taking that can change that. And one of the action steps was, instead of moving my complete workout, because I still want to work out in the morning, moving my complete workout, I move part of my workout from the morning to the afternoon, and that gives me a natural energy boost. And then I'm good for the rest of the evening, and I don't nap. So I could either work out for 20, 30 minutes, or I can nap for 15, 20 minutes, which is more productive, right? So that workout gives me the same boost of energy. The nap used to give me. So that's something to think about in the after. And it doesn't have to be a workout. It could be walking, could be getting outside for fresh air. It could be getting up out of your desk, getting some water, something. You got to wake yourself up. You got to change that state of mind that you're in. And again, let me go back to expectation, because I feel like most of us just expect to be naturally drained by the end of the day. And I'll give you an example of that in a second. Some of you are sitting there being like, no way I'm getting up at 5 a.m. or there's no way I have time to work out. And you do. That's just tough love from me being a coach and helping you understand that you probably need someone to push you outside of your comfort zone. And that's what a coach is for. Sometimes I'll sit across from one of my clients and we'll have a conversation like this, and they'll say, I'm not seeing the results I'm looking for, or whatever they're dealing with. And I say, okay, well, let's change. Let's make a change. Let's do this. And they're like, nah, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, and you don't really want change, right? Like, my job as a coach is to push you outside of your comfort zone, expand your mind and body so you can see more results. And some people are very receptive to that. And those people are ready for a coach. Thank you. That's what they need. And that's where they've drawn the line for themselves. And then you can get pushed over that line by someone, right? That someone has experience, knows what they're doing, can help you get there. Other people are completely resistant. No, don't tell me what to do. Limiting mindset. No way I can do that. And then think of all the reasons why it's not possible. Instead of having an open mind, if you're not working with us, you got to make your workout plan. So you have a plan in advance. You don't wake up at 4:45 and are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm working out. Don't know what time I'm working out. Don't know which workout I'm doing. All excuses. So for us, we remove all those excuses and say, this is the time you're working out. This is your workout. And on top of that, when you're done your workout, you're going to message me and you say, hey, done my workout. So we do a 30-minute workout. So I expect to hear from you from 5:30. Great, right? That's how it works. That's how coaching works. I feel like that's some nice insight, because a lot of times people, when they come to us for coaching, they have no idea what it's like to have a coach because they haven't had a coach before. And I was in that same boat before, so that's not putting anyone down. A lot of people have never hired a coach, which is why a lot of people have never seen the results they're looking for, whatever field they're in, looking to see success. Okay, I want to get back to expectations here, because here's an example that I can give you. I played at high level professional sports, and moving up, I had this mentor and amazing individual. We're still in touch, of course. And after a game, I would be like, I would play a baseball game, and then I would go to the gym and I would work. I worked at a gym at this point in time. And I played hard. I was always dirty. I got there early. I stayed late. I was diving in the outfield, sliding into first, second base, whatever it was. I played hard, and that was probably one of the most things I'm proud of. I never took a practice off, never took a game off. It was always 100%. So at the end of the game, at the end of the game, I was tired because I put in as much effort as I possibly could. And then from there, the next day I was usually sore because I was doing crazy stuff, sliding into people or bases or diving into fences. Sounds like I'm not playing baseball when I explain this out loud, but I would at some point in time, I told my brain that I should be sore after a game, or I didn't put in the amount of effort I should have, right? Or I would play really hard. I had a great game. The next day I was a bit sore, right? So I told myself, this is something that you guys have to think deeply about, unless you have a coach that can help you work through this stuff. And you say, well, why did you tell yourself that story? So I did some deep work myself, and I was like, you know what? I told myself that story because of the result I got. If I put in 100% effort, I'm going to see amazing results, and I'm going to be sore. That's the step-by-step process my mind told me. So so this is a funny story. I'd be kind of limp around a little bit and be like, oh, it was a tough game last night, for the next day or two. It sounds funny to me now, but so I had this individual, and there's so many eye-opening experiences. But one of them is they'd walk around, they'd see me walking around like that, and they'd be kind of making fun of me a little bit, but in a good way. And they're like, how you doing this morning? You must have played a game. So sore today. And I was like, you know what? And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I didn't realize I carried on like that after every game. And I wasn't sore after every game because I was in really good shape. And so I thought to myself, why do I need to, why is my expectation to be sore? And it was nice to have someone else give me that perspective. So then I changed my mind frame. And after every game, I wasn't limping around or really, my legs are really sore. Or that was a tough game. You were looking for a little bit of extra attention. And that's my opinion, or how I was. Now, here's the thing is a lot of you, and we had the same conversation, Dorothy and I had the same conversation of like, we work really hard throughout the day. And at the end of the day, we're usually exhausted, like laying on the couch, looking at each other like, what do we do to ourselves today? And then do the exact same thing the next day. But then, so my expectation changed after their games. I was like, you know what? I'm in great shape. So the story you tell yourself changes, right? I'm in great shape. I don't need to be sore after every game. And I am a top athlete. I'm elite. This is in my mind frame, right? I'm an elite athlete. I don't need to be sore all the time and there's nothing wrong with being sore like after a workout, but it was just the story I told myself. So I changed that story. And now after game, then from then on after games, I wasn't like, right? Now, your expectations around the afternoon, like the afternoon slump, someone may have told you that may have happened in the past, but it doesn't always have to be like that. Like you don't always have to be like, oh my gosh, but we've trained ourselves. This is a conditioned response. We have trained ourselves to believe that during the afternoon around 2:00 or whatever time for you, we're going to be drained of energy and struggle to get through the rest of the day, right? Now it's the same thing for us when we were like, my gosh, why are we so exhausted at the end of every day? We're healthy, we're fit, we exercise. And then I said, it's got to be at least in part, and I'll get to action in a moment, but it's got to be at least in part of our expectation that we usually work hard most of every day. And at the end of the day, we're probably going to be exhausted. So we changed our mindset and that changed. We also changed action. I'll get to that in a second, but we changed our mindset. And then at the end of the day, we weren't like, I was like, you know what? I don't I usually work, I've changed my work hours a little bit. I'm not working 10 plus hours a day anymore. Enjoying more family time, even enjoying business more because I'm not like putting everything into draining myself. And from 5, like when I log off at whatever time it is, I don't want to be exhausted from 5 to 8. And then we start getting ready and go to bed around 9, right? So that's 4 hours a day where we're kind of like laying around being like miserable because our energy is drained, but we change our mindset around, okay, it's the evening. Now it's family time. I want to play with my son. I want to have a conversation with my wife. I don't want to lay on the ground or on the ground too. I don't want to lay on the couch and like a zombie and wait till 9:00 comes so I can go to bed. That's mindset, that's expectations, and then we'll get into actions here in a second. Let me know in the comments if this is hitting home for anyone. Okay. The next topic we have here is self-sabotage. So why do you deserve that you don't need energy in your day? And this is a tough one for a lot of people to deal with because this is inner work. This is high level coaching. You're not going to hear a trainer sitting across from you talking about this kind of stuff, or just any kind of coach. We have to understand that this self-sabotage is what's holding us back. It's what's holding us back from seeing the results that we're looking for and taking action steps. And this is I'm going to wrap this up at the end around action in particular, but that's really what we need to look at. I've got so many self-sabotage stories. Like you could look at someone like, let's say someone's in our MAT program and they've seen incredible results. And then they're like, okay, now I'm going to go do this on my own. And I'm like, it's only been a few months. What are you talking about? You've just spent 20 years struggling on your own. So you've seen a glimmer of success and you're going to go back and do what's not working. So that is self-sabotage. You could look at someone that's like, okay, I'm going to reach out. I really want to do it this time. And then they're like, okay, I'm ready. Let me join this program. Let me see if I can make it work. And then they're like, then we have a conversation. Then they think of reasons why it's not going to work for them. Oh, actually, I don't have the time for that. Actually, I can't afford anything. It's not able to invest anything. So, let me get back to you. That's probably the worst part of self-sabotage is let me get back to you or let me think about it because I can have a better mindset in 3 weeks after our call and I forget everything we talked about, right? And all that is self-sabotage. We're talking ourselves out of seeing better results because it changes everything really. Like you look at someone that's like Trudy, for example, I think she's down 31 pounds right now. And for her, she could continue to see action steps and move forward, or she can go backwards. And those are two very clear decisions that she'll need to make every day. So we work on that for her. And we say, what are the things that we can do to change? So I don't think she'd mind me telling you this, but she doesn't fit in her clothes, right? Like you lost 30 some pounds, you don't fit in your clothes. So instead of hanging on to those clothes for one day that you can go back and fit in them, we're working on getting rid of those clothes. Why are they keeping it? So in the back of your mind, you have a plan B that if this doesn't keep working out, I can go back to those clothes. Or we have a emotions wrapped around things and stuff and clothing. So we're working mentally, like, let's get rid of those things that have been holding you back in the past. So for you guys to understand, like, your self-sabotage is holding you back. So maybe you have some days with high energy. Maybe you start working out in the morning and you start having more energy throughout the day. And then you go back and you're like, nah, you sleep in for a couple days. Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. I'll get back to that later. Self-sabotage. So it's our job to continue to work past that self-sabotage to see the results that we're looking for. And it's not easy. It's hard because it's so easy to go back to where we were. That's safe. That's comfortable. You know that. You change your mindset to a different person of, I'm actually energized now. I feel good. I have a higher vibration. I'm more positive. That's a different person. And then now we have to look at environment. Like, the people in your life, are they alive, awake, vibrant, or are they in a darker space, less movement, less living, less lively? And so you're fighting against your past environment, in most cases, to a new environment where it's lighter and brighter and more energizing. So it's very easy to go back to your workplace, which is sucking the life out of you. Like, let's be real. Possibly it's family. It could be your good friends that don't want you to succeed, because then you'll be moving on in life and leaving them behind. So it's a whole big picture of why we want to stay in the same space. And that's why you see people yo-yo all the time. I mean, partially because of those really crappy, low quality, short-term diets that sell you like potions, powders, and pills, right? So you're like, great. Or like calorie deprivation. And you're like, okay, I can only handle that for 6 weeks. See great results at the end of 6 weeks. And then you go back to your life, and what happens? You gain it all back. And it's like shocking. Like, what did you think was going to happen? It's the same thing when you see someone that sees incredible results and they're like feeling better, looking better, more energy, losing weight. And then they're like, you know what? I think it's time for me to go back to what I was doing. And I'm like, like, looking from the outside in, what do you think I'm thinking? I'm like, wow, like, why did you just put in all that effort to go back to what you were doing that wasn't working? It doesn't make any sense at all. And that's hard to intellectualize, to be like, okay, I'm going to do all the things I'm doing well and then go back. But we can see a clear disconnect from where you were to self-sabotage, going back to where you don't want to be. So my point here is that you have to do a little bit of deep work, like I just mentioned earlier. Like, why do you feel that you don't need energy? Why are your action steps taking you towards lack of energy? Why do you surround yourself with people that have no energy? All those steps are going to keep you exactly where you are, energy drained, and not in the position where you want to be. One of the things I did mention briefly is environment. Like, you have to look at what your environment looks like. And I'm not talking about, so often I talk about like the people in your life. That's number one and probably at the top in environment in particular. But we have to look at the environment of our home, of our room, of our workplace. So many times I'm just looking at it around our place, like I have a plant here. Like, plant represents life. It's green. So we're often looking at like dead, lifeless things. Like, I'm looking at a computer, right? Most people are looking at a computer all day. I have a light, I have a camera. That's not alive. It's not living. I can see 4 plants in my immediate view, right? So that represents life. You're actually living, right? Like, I mean, these are actually living things. Like, plastic plants in a house, really, I'm like, ugh. Like, you should surround, and then look, okay, limiting mindset, right? Oh, I don't like plants. I don't have a green thumb. There's little bugs. There's dirt. Like, those are reasons why you don't want to surround yourself with life, right? And it doesn't have to be plants. It's just an easy one. Like Himalayan salt lamps, I have one right here. That one offers negative energy or negative ions that help balance out all the negative, positive ions coming from technology, right? We have them in our room. I also have a diffuser here next to me when I'm working. So we have a little bit of, we have essential oils, which are also medicinally healing, but it's also the flow of water, and it's the flow of the steam, I suppose. But that's representing movement, living, lively, vibrant. And most of us are in very like dark spaces, like our homes. Like, we may have curtains over our windows, for example. Like, when I get up in the morning, first thing I do is open up all the curtains. So for you guys to be in like a dark space without life, like, we have a TV in our room. We don't. Most people do. You got a TV in our room that doesn't represent anything positive, right? And my point here is that sucks the life out of us. So it's not just the environment of the people in our life, it's also what we surround ourselves with. Like, do you have inspiring pictures around your house? And like, if you want to go to the beach, do you have beach pictures at your house? Like, if your dream is to live near a beach, like, do you talk about it? Do you see those kinds of things? Like, are they in your immediate vision? And in most cases, it's not. Like, we don't have motion, right? And that's when I say, like, your plants grow a little bit, like all the time, right? That's motion. Diffusers, motion. Negative ions to fight the positive ions, motion, right? And I feel like a lot, like, water's fantastic. Like, moving water, it's healing, it's medicinal. We need to, like, having a little water fountain somewhere in the house is a great way to improve the positivity or improve the energy in your home. So it's not just our mindset that's holding us back. It's not just the friends in our life that probably shouldn't be there. They're holding us back, right? It's not even only the food. Like, these are all little pieces that are dragging us down. Like, it's a process. Like, it's a step-by-step process, and it's ongoing, and you continually work and you change and you transform. Like, for us, like, sometimes we have a stressful time, and like, we go through stressful times in our life, and what we do is we open up all the windows, we smudge, we clear energy, we move things around the house so they're not things that have been sitting there that we don't use. We kind of get rid of. Like, we revamp everything. It's like, this dead, lifeless energy needs to go, and we have to do something to make that happen. And a lot of times I feel like we just sit there, what is this, analysis paralysis. You sit there thinking about all the things you should do and do absolutely nothing. That's the thing. Like, I did a video recently about testing, and I have no problem with testing, but the problem is a lot of people are like, oh, my iron levels are low, or I've been diagnosed with this, or magnesium levels are low, or whatever it is. Like, we just want to be diagnosed with something so we have that baseline. That's fine. But someone comes to me and they say, okay, I got tested and this is what they told me. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do with that? And like, what do you mean? Like, what are our action steps to help fill in for whatever may be lacking? And in most cases, it's the same thing that you should have been doing anyways. You should be getting more active, you should be eating properly, you should be around a positive environment, and you should properly properly use supplements to improve your health, right? It's not like we overthink too many things, and we want to have like a clear definition of whatever it is that's holding us back, but it's usually ourselves, right? And all these things I'm talking about, from your expectations to self-sabotage to changing your environment and your mindset, that's what's holding us back. It's not the diagnosis, because even when we get the diagnosis, we don't do anything, right? So what's the point? Like, what are we getting it for? Karina says, yes, I did a vision board and was so shocked at the things I manifested. And you know what is absolutely amazing? Dorothy and I had a place in LA for a while. We moved a bunch of our stuff, and we went through things. We had a place there for 5 years. So we had stuff in our apartment there that we haven't even looked at for a number of years because, we're usually bouncing in and out. But we looked at some of our vision boards, and we have what we've manifested years ago. And I think it's so amazing that we can create things in our life. And the problem is I think we don't do it. Probably because we don't believe in manifestation, or we don't think it's a thing, or because we've tried in the past and maybe it hasn't worked exactly how we want it to, or we don't wait long enough. We're like, oh, that's not going to work. Move on to something else. But I'm going to wrap things up here, and hopefully this is helpful. We have to look at the actions that we're taking, right? Like, you have to, like, why are you taking actions to drain yourself all day long, right? If that's the case, or if you're not if you're not draining yourself, why do you expect? Like, why is your expectation to be drained? And I think that's super important. An easy one for me is to look back and look at all the hours I was working. And I was like, is it worth it? Like, to push our business? I'm really happy with where we're at in business. So to keep pushing and to take away time from our family just didn't make sense. So I made that change, and I'm not exhausted at the end of the day, right? Like, so whatever it is that you're doing, you have to make a change. Otherwise, like, if you watch this video and you're like, before you came here, you're like, I really need to make a change. I want to make a change. And then, like, a couple days after this, you don't take any action. Then a week after, you don't take any action. Like, you've just wasted your time here. You're not going to see any results if you don't take action. And you could sit here and listen to as many, like, there's not lack of information out there. There's lack of action. So there's more than enough information out there for anything you want to learn in this world, anything right now. What's lacking is people taking action to make that happen.
True Form Life.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body.
Once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. You can always find us on Facebook.com/TrueFormLife. We post up there a couple times a day on our story. We're always trying to bring you more content around living a healthy lifestyle, whether that be nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. We also have free challenges that we do at least once a month. So if you follow us along there, you'll be able to join maybe a plank challenge or a squat challenge, Tabata challenge, whatever it may be. We'd love to have you join us. We're also on Instagram.com/DrewTaddia. Again, we're posting up there a couple times a day along with our story, all dedicated to keeping you fit and healthy and on track. Our main website is TrueFormLife.com. If you want to check out some of our products, some of our services, or if you just want some great content from videos to blog posts and recipes and more, we got all that at TrueFormLife.com. Once again, thank you so much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Taddia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with True Form Life's Drew Taddia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Taddia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.